pitfalls and undesirable elements in this present system. Number one, a lot of house buyers were delivered houses that were not of the expected quality and standards, and in certain cases we believe the houses were actually of unacceptable quality. Now this is brought about because certain irresponsible developers adopt a very bullying attitude. They know and they realize when a house buyer has paid up 90% of the house that he has bought, he is financially actually quite exhausted, most of them anyway, and to pursue a legal redress to his complaint would be the last thing he would want to think of. So the wayward developers realize this situation and they adopt a bullying attitude. As of 2 years ago, before the task force for the revival of abandoned project was set up, headed by the Chief Secretary to the government, Tan Sri Siddiq. Before the task force was set up, there were a total of 168 abandoned projects. Tens of thousands of house buyers were involved. Now, fortunately, the task force has over the past 2 years managed to revive about 50% of those 186 abandoned projects. So with that as a background, the House Buyers Association have been lobbying, and we have been lobbying very hard for the government to depart from the present system, the very present disorderly, hazardous and risky situation where house buyers make progressive payment. We believe that house buyers shouldn't be made to pay progressive payment. They should only pay the 10% upon signing the sales and purchase agreement, and the balance 90% will only be payable when the houses are completed with certifications, titles, etc. We believe this is a system that will insulate house buyers from the effects of an abandoned project. This morning, the members of the House Buyers Association, including our lawyers, were given the opportunity to brief our Member of Parliament, our input, our comments on the latest amendment to the Housing Development Act. And on this call, we are glad to say that the Minister, through his commitment, have initiated the amendment, which is good. Making the main theme seems to be making developers who abandon their housing project a criminal act, and they can be fined and or jailed. We think that will be a good deterrent. But then, having said that, it will all depend to a very, very large extent on the degree of enforcement, how serious the government is in enforcing that act. The House Buyers Association comprises solely of volunteers. We are a non-profit, non-governmental organization solely aimed at improving the housing industry, and more so to look after the interests of house buyers. And our long-term objective is actually to see a more orderly environment in our housing industry.